Hello again, my fellow patriots. And yes, of course, they're going to do what we already knew they were going to do. They will silence the microphones in the final debate. Now, what they're really saying is, whenever Trump tries to make facts, or if he goes, off the track of what they want him to say, boom, they're going to mute his microphone. He's not going to get a chance to properly explain himself on anything, and he's also not going to get a chance to bring up anything else other than what they want to talk about. Meaning, when he starts to bring up Hunter Biden, which I'm sure he will, and the fact that Joe Biden is implicated in these things, they're probably going to immediately mute his mic and then give everything over to Joe Biden instead. So this is going to be Trump talking for maybe 5 minutes of the whole debate. Meanwhile, Biden gets the rest. And this is going to be a big mistake for Democrats. Because everyone is going to see that, well, everyone with a functioning brain is going to see that as silencing Trump's free speech. Taking away his First Amendment right. At least in the first debate, things may have gotten kind of off the rails, but Biden did interrupt Trump first, and then it was pretty much game on. And then they just kind of talked about what they wanted to talk about, and then in the vice presidential debates, Kamala would say her little thing and think that they would just move on to the next subject, but no. Pence gave up his time to go back and address what Kamala said, and all she would do is just sit there and give her a little stupid crap-eating grin, little smirks to him, and I swear if she could shoot laser beams out of her eyes, he would have been vaporized. But let's get into this story. The Commission on Presidential Debates has adopted a new rule ahead of Thursday's second and final presidential debate and will silence the microphone of the candidate who does not have the floor during the uninterrupted 2-minute periods at the start of each segment. The Commission cited the prior announcement to consider additional structure to future debates following the first presidential debate with moderator Chris Wallace. Psst. The first debate saw several interruptions from both candidates and Wallace. While Joe Biden set the tone by interrupting first, Wallace later stated that Trump bore the primary responsibility for what occurred during the debate. The Commission has determined that it is appropriate to adopt measures intended to promote adherence to agreed-upon rules and inappropriate to make changes to those rules, it said in a statement, detailing its plan to enforce the rule. Under the agreed-upon debate rules, each candidate is to have 2 minutes of uninterrupted time to make remarks at the beginning of each 15-minute segment of the debate. These remarks are to be followed by a period of discussion. Both campaigns this week again reaffirmed their agreement to the 2-minute uninterrupted rule. The Commission is announcing today that in order to enforce this agreed-upon rule, the only candidate whose microphone will be open during these 2-minute periods is the candidate who has the floor under the rules. For the balance of each element, which by design is intended to be dedicated to open discussion, both candidates' microphones will be open. The CPD added that neither campaign may be totally satisfied with the measures today, but added that it is comfortable that these actions strike the right balance and that they are in the interest of the American people, for whom these debates are held. Washington, Associated Press. Debate Commission adopts new rules to mute microphones to allow Trump Biden 2 minutes of uninterrupted time per segment. The Commission announced the topics for the upcoming debate last week, selected by moderator Kristen Welker, who has established ties to the Democrat Party. President Trump has already expressed his opinion of Welker ahead of the debate, describing her as terrible and unfair, just like most of the fake news reporters. But I'll still play the game, he added. The people know. How's Steve Scully doing? She's always been terrible and unfair, just like most of the fake news reporters, but I'll still play the game. The people know. How's Steve Scully doing? Tweeted Trump on October 17th. Now, we will just see how fair things are, because they've already talked about changing the topics. The topics were going to be about, of course, foreign policy and everything else, which has been the norm for a while. They don't want that anymore. The Biden campaign wants that changed for obvious reasons. Hunter is already in this spotlight for his dealings with Ukraine and China. So, yeah, they definitely do not want the spotlight to be on any of that. So that's why they're trying to change things. This is all bullcrap. The Democrats are guilty as guilty can be, and they are trying to change the rules to suit their narrative, to make it impossible for Trump to bring up any of this stuff and further incriminate them. Because I have a feeling when he gets going and starts talking about Hunter, if they don't cut off his mic, that Joe is going to lose his mind. Now, that would be rather funny to see, but I have a feeling that if Trump goes even slightly off topic, they're just going to mute his microphone and tell him to get back on topic, or just give the remainder of the time to Joe Biden. Which, like I said, it's all rigged anyway. Obviously, it's rigged. The first moderator, yeah, he was from Fox News, but he's a Democrat. He's a registered Democrat. The second moderator, who was to be the second moderator, was also a Democrat, and he was a former Biden apprentice. And this third moderator also has ties to Biden. So, how can it get more rigged than this? Trump doesn't have a chance. They purposely stack everything against him. They purposely give Joe Biden these little questions that a 5-year-old can answer. And then they give Trump these super hard questions, which they know there isn't much rebuttal to. And when he starts to give a rebuttal, just like the daggone town hall meeting, they're constantly interrupting him. She wouldn't let Trump get a full sentence in that damn town hall. Everything is rigged against him. He can't win. But hopefully, the American people will see all this and vote accordingly. Do you want someone who's trying to be honest and getting silenced? Or do you want to vote for the people who want to silence anyone who's trying to say the truth? But I guess that's all for man, my voice. That's all for this video. It's all rigged, people. It is all rigged. It's all stacked against Trump. They don't want him to win. But stay vigilant, and I will see you in the next video.